obsessive DP.
So I've shot a lot of drone footage over the years. We've had 3 different drones. I've flown about 5 different drones. I have my FAA certification, remote pilot certification. I don't have it with me. And I've seen a lot of second-rate drone footage. Even on TV, like HDTV, for instance, has a lot of drone footage on their like fixer-upper, construction shows, town shows. Netflix documentaries use a lot of drone footage as well. And it is very frustrating to me when I see a lot of just straight out of the box, straight out of the drone footage from someone not very experienced, because it's super easy to get cinematic shots with just these 5 tips. Number 1, don't use an FPV drone. That's pretty obvious. FPV drones can give you pretty cool shots in some instances, but for the most part, drone footage needs to be smooth, clean, not like this crazy racing throughout whatever you're gonna do with the drone. Usually FPV drones are used for racing and it just looks crazy and you're weaving in and out of stuff. That could be a style for a very specific output, a very specific video, TV show, commercial, whatever. But in most cases, it's not gonna look good. It's gonna look shaky. It's going to irk the viewer. It's gonna make them feel like they're on the edge of their seat the whole time, which might be what you're going for. But for the most part, when you look at, and this is very important, when you look at movies, TV shows, cinematic stuff that you like, be a student and see what the drone footage looks like. 99.9% of the time, it's very smooth. You're probably only operating on one axis at a time. Like you're not like pulling back, twisting, turning, looking up. You're not doing all this stuff with the camera. You're probably just pulling back and tilting up. That's probably it. Or going forward and tilting up, going forward, tilting down. You're not like going left to the right, tilting up, turning, all those things. You're probably not doing that. Operate on very smooth one-axis scenarios. Number 2, remove in-camera sharpening. The sharpening on these cameras, most DJI stuff, it looks terrible. It looks so bad. All you gotta do is remove it. So you actually go into the camera settings and you set it to like -3, -5, somewhere in there. I've found works really well. And then if you wanna add sharpening later, you add it later. But pro tip, cinematic lenses are not super sharp. Super sharp is for like sports, the news, that type of thing where you're capturing something and you really want every detail. It's really not that way with cinema. When you're talking about movies, you actually want a little bit of softness. You want that extra character. You want to see the film grain a little bit better. The film grain, you know, is kind of sharp, but the actual image is not the sharpest thing in the world. You don't want to see that moiraying. There's a ton of moiraying in the average drone shot that you see on an HGTV show. That's just what you see. It doesn't look great. Turn the sharpening down. It's that easy. Smooth out your tilt settings. I kind of referenced this a minute ago, but there's actually a ramp, a motion ramp that you can add to your tilt of your camera on most DJI drones, probably some other ones as well. When you're doing a move, let's say you're going like this, and then you let go of the stick, it keeps going, and then it slowly comes to a stop. Let's say you're tilting up, you're going up, and then it slowly comes to a stop. It helps you out a lot. It's a bit harder to gauge when you should stop because the camera's gonna keep moving a little bit. Man, it gives that cinematic look. And you just have that little 1-inch sensor, that little, you know, cheap lens, but you can still get really smooth cinematic looking stuff by just adding motion ramping to the drone. So what you want to do is to set your gimbal pitch smoothness. Now there's a lot of different settings you can do. Some will go really far. It's like a really long motion ramp before it slows down. Some will just, right when you let go, it'll go just a little bit of move. It's whatever feels right for your shot, but I would definitely say you need to add this to help with your smoothness if you're doing any kind of tilt move. Now, if you're not doing a tilt move on your shot, say you're not tilting up or tilting down during a shot, you probably don't need to adjust this. But we use this all the time. Sometimes we just use it as an eye in the sky. The drone's not even moving. We're just doing a nice tilt up from a real cool overhead angle, something maybe you could have got with a crane if you're like 50 feet off the ground, but any more than that, you're probably not going to use anything other than a drone. So setting your gimbal pitch smoothness, is the way to go. Copy what you see in movies. Be a student, sit there and watch a scene and maybe watch it through once to get the story because you want to not get yourself out of the story, but maybe watch the movie again, and every time you see a scene, maybe pause it and think about how they're framing everything, maybe what camera they're using, what lenses they're using. Think about how they're lighting things. Are they lighting it from this side or this side? Even just watching this video, you can see what side of the face I'm lit from. It's pretty obvious. I got blue here and I got my key here. So be a student when you're seeing these aerial shots and copy what you see that works. I like a really cool drone shot that's moving forward slowly and then tilting down to see like a building, to reveal maybe like a church steeple behind a big tree. That stuff looks really cool. That was basically all 5 tips. Lastly though, I'll throw this one in for free. Don't trust the proximity sensors at sunset.
Nice work, man.
Stay obsessed.